I traded for a horse one time. He wouldn't take no medium price. A great big long-eared blue roan gelding, not too bad for weight or size. I had to make some tough old circles, and this trader guaranteed this horse would not make. Oh, this horse would show me lots of country and not need too much rest or feed. He said, "Now this here ain't no kid's horse, but he'll pack you up the creek. He'll bump up on some occasions, and he's been known to kick. But if you're sure enough cowboy, oh, I wouldn't trade him with just anyone without having some remorse. But if you're sure enough cowpuncher, he's your kind of horse." I stepped on that horse next morning. He began to buck and bawl. That trader maybe hadn't lied none, but I hadn't told it all. Because we sure throughout the country where he threw that he couldn't fit, and I almost ran out of handholds by the time he finally quit. I guess that must have set the pattern. Things just never seem to change. Although I showed him lots of country, every corner of the range. But every time I'd ride that booger away, he'd keep me sitting tight. I knew I'd make at least 3 bronco rides before he'd pack me home that night, which would have been okay with lots of horses that I knowed. But that old pony had my number, and I just barely got him rode. And the thing that really spooked me and put a damper on my pride was he was learning how to buck faster than I was learning how to ride. I pulled into camp one evening. It was getting pretty late. I see this gray horse in the corral, and there's a saddle by the gate. I looked that gray horse over, and I sure liked what I seen. Then this kid showed up around the barn. He must have been about 16. He said he'd let that gray that morning come off the granite grade, and he wondered if I had a horse that I'd maybe like to trade. When a feller's trading horses, why most anything is fair. So I traded him that blue roan for his gray horse then and there. But then my conscience started hurting when I thought of what I did. To trade a fly-blown dink like that off to some little wet-nosed kid. So next morning, after breakfast, Wiley tells him, "Listen, lad, if you want to know the truth, that trade you made last night was bad. That old blue horse is a tough one, bad as anyone you'll see. He'll kick you, strike you, stampede. He's a sorry SOB. It's all I can do to ride him, and I'll tell it to you straight. I think you'll be awfully lucky just to ride him past the gate." He said, "I told you there last night I'd make most any kind of trade. And I appreciate your telling what bad mistake I made. But my old daddy told me when you're trading horses that no matter how you feel, even if you take a whipping, that deal is still a deal. I traded for him fair and square, and dang his blue roan hide. When I pull out of here this morning, that's the horse I'm gonna ride." I watched him cinching up his saddle, and he pulled his hat way down. Stepped right up into the rigging like he's headed straight for town. Stuck both spurs up in shoulders, got the blue roan hair flying. Tipped his head straight back and screamed just like a hungry mountain lion. You know, I've heard lots of stories about the bucking horse ballet. I've heard of poetry in motion, but the ride I saw that day just plumb complete, defied description. I can see it plain, like it happened in slow motion and was branded on my brain. I don't suppose I could explain it to you even if I tried. The only thing I could say is by the saints, that kid could ride. He sat there plumb relaxed like he was laying home in bed. And every jump that that pony made, that kid's a half a jump ahead. When it was over, I decided I could learn a few things still. And I said, "Son, I'm awfully sorry I misjudged your riding skill." He said, "Shucks, that's okay, mister," as he started on his way. "But if you think this horse can buck, don't put your saddle on that gray."